So here we are on Mount Fuji at 1:30 in the morning.
Starting the eventual summit.
Yeah.
Should take about an hour, but it's hard.
And it's dark. And we don't have
Very dark.
headlamps.
Nope.
All we have is this phone. So, we're gonna start heading. Ohio minasan, good morning. We're on beautiful Mount Fuji.
We've had an amazing and hard morning. It has been one of the most windy, cold mornings of our lives, but also the best sunrise that we could have imagined. It was insane.
It all started at 1 a.m. We left our hut, which we overpaid for.
That hut was terrible.
Horrible. We'll talk about that once we get down from here.
We'll talk about it a
Because
lot.
that place I do not recommend to anybody.
But sadly, we might have to recommend it. But we'll talk more about that.
But yeah, so we were stuck in like a traffic jam up Mount Fuji for 2 hours from the aid station to the summit.
Yeah, people would just like decide it was time to take a break and stop in the middle of the trail. Like, what?
And when we finally reached the top of the mountain, it was worse.
Yeah.
It was so cold, so windy. We couldn't film anything for you with audio because it was so windy that you wouldn't be able to hear us.
It was unbelievably windy.
So we got up there
man.
and we didn't think there was a bathroom because we couldn't find it. Found out that it was people just huddled in the bathroom.
Yeah, it was barricaded.
To get away from the cold. Sarah was shaking uncontrollably and I really wanted to get a photo, so I had her go stand inside while I tried to capture the sunrise in the very beginning, and then when it started to get to the best parts, I went and got Sarah and we watched the sunrise together.
On the most beautiful place ever, by the Torii Gate on the mountain. I cried.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Our good luck charms did us well. It didn't rain at all. It was supposed to rain the whole time.
We got new good luck charms too.
And we got like some sticks with stamps from the aid station.
That proves that we made it.
Just because that's the only good thing from our hut, by the way.
That was the one good thing. And Chance made some friends.
I did make some friends. They were
nice guys. But yeah, that's been a morning.
It's been a morning. We're gonna continue our descent. It's just a really steep, slippery climb down the mountain. We'll show you how that looks. It's amazing.
You're literally just like skating down the mountain. Like it doesn't feel like you ever have solid footing.
Just watching the sun get higher into the sky as we get down the mountain.
It still looks amazing. Like after the sun has risen, it still looks unbelievable where we are right now.
But now we need to go get to the bottom of the mountain and get some food because all we've had is cold ramen.
Not even cooked all the way.
Made with tea and like granola bars.
Yeah.
So it's time to get a hot meal.
Please let us have one.
We'll see you at the bottom. We want to talk about whether climbing Mount Fuji is worth the trouble we have to go through, or if it's just overrated and a waste of time. And joining us today, we have a very beautiful bird who is going to be singing you a song
The whole time we talk.
as a soundtrack to this.
And you have to enjoy it. You have to.
And a bee that likes to hit me in the face.
There's a lot of bees on Mount Fuji.
So let's dig right in. Firstly, how much does it cost to climb Mount Fuji? And I mean, if you're like us, you think climbing a mountain, it's free.
Free.
You just show up and walk.
Daily adventure.
Not true. So there's getting to Mount Fuji, and the round trip pass costs 2,340 yen, so about $22 US
A person.
per person.
That's just from Kawaguchiko Station to the 5th station. So that doesn't include travel to and from the city that you're coming from if you're not staying here.
Very true. Then you have to think about the fact that you need to have a reservation for a hut if you're going to not be climbing to the top and then back down without staying.
So it's called bullet climbing, the kind of people who will climb from the 5th station to the summit and then back down all in one go, basically, without stopping and staying anywhere in between. And that is not recommended because the amount of altitude that you gain on this hike is pretty insane, and it's really likely that you would get altitude sickness if you do the hike that quickly and not leave enough time for breaks or like extended stays on one of the stations. So we paid about $60 per person for our hut, which we showed you in the last video. We'll show you here again just in case you didn't see that. Check it out. But yeah, $60 for the absolute bare minimum that you could possibly imagine for a place to sleep, and we did not get any sleep. And that was the one purpose that that place should have served, and it did not.
So basically you spent $120 for a cramped room with very little bedding. It was so uncomfortable.
It was like sleeping on rocks.
And everyone was super loud the whole time. It was a third from the top of the 8 stations, which was really nice because then we only had to walk maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to the summit of Mount Fuji.
Yeah, if we had been walking alone, it would have been really fast, but the very summit of Mount Fuji is longer. We'll talk about that later.
So that's one of the pros of staying there, is that you get to walk most of the mountain and then a short walk in the morning. Pro and a con.
Yeah.
So that was our meal list reservation, so we didn't get any breakfast or dinner, and they wouldn't even give us hot water so we could use our cup ramens that we brought along with us.
Yeah.
So we just had granola bars the whole time, and Sarah stole some tea.
I stole some tea. We could have gotten kicked out, but we really needed to eat, and honestly, like, when we were looking into reserving these huts, we read a little bit about how the customer service was pretty bad at these places, but I mean, it was way worse than I thought it would be. I mean, there were some cool people there. We did meet some of the guides that were staying at our house that were really cool, but the people who were running it were really obviously no nonsense and maybe not so friendly about the amount of foreigners who were coming to climb Mount Fuji, which is fine. Like, it's whatever. I was expecting it. We were both expecting it. It's fine. But to pay $120 for literally like half of a sleeping bag on a wooden floor with maybe 50 other people in the same room as you, and they won't even give you hot water. Like, we offered to pay full price for a cup ramen that they sold and then just use the water for ours, and it was like a hard no. So that sucked.
On that topic, bathrooms. You had to pay every time you use a bathroom. It was 200 yen at most bathrooms, 300 yen at some bathrooms. You have to pay for water, around 400 to 500 yen, so $5 maybe for a bottle of water.
And you can't, there's no tap water, there's no running water at all on Mount Fuji. You can't even flush toilets here. So there's no way to like bring a reusable one and fill it up. You have to buy it every time.
And those are just some of the things you will most likely have to pay for. There are other things like headlamps and stuff like that, but everything is ridiculously priced, so that's a big con to having to climb Mount Fuji and having to pay for all those things. Next, weather. We got super lucky. Mount Fuji is infamous for its volatile weather, and it can change in a heartbeat from being sunny to all of a sudden storming, and you can't go any further because it closed down the trail because there's so much wind. So you have to make sure that you are prepared for any situation, and we were not prepared for any situation at all. We just wore jeans and jackets.
I wore like leggings, and I thought that would be perfect, but it felt like I wasn't wearing pants with the wind. It was so cold.
And so definitely have to prepare for that heavily. We did not.
So yeah, make a plan to be carrying like warm clothing to wear when you reach the summit, because man, it is cold. I don't think that either of us have felt that kind of cold in a long time. Like, it was almost nauseatingly cold with the wind.
And it wasn't even just because of the temperature, it was the wind. The wind was terrible.
The wind on the top is unbelievable. Like, I was getting blown over. Like, I almost couldn't stand. So be ready for that. So another thing to discuss is the hike itself. So this hike is really famous for being accessible for like old people, children. Like, you'd think that it was a hike that anyone could do, and that may be true, but it's definitely a challenge. Like, the whole way up, there are rock climbing portions of the hike where you're almost going vertical, having to pull yourself up with rope. It is very tedious at times, and it's not short. So it is a long haul on the way here. But luckily, once you reach the 8th station, you do get that rest for 6 or 7 hours before you have to start the actual summit. So that really helps. And then once you wake up for your summit, it is not as much of a hike as it is a line of queuing up the mountain. So like, there's groups of like 10 to 20 people in tour packages who are just slowly ascending, and there's almost no way to get around them. We were able to like kind of zigzag our way through at some parts of it, but a lot of the hike to the actual summit is like a very narrow, winding road on the very edge of the cliff. So whatever pace that front group is going at, that is what you're stuck at. So the end of the mountain could be like the easiest, most like glorious finish to your hike, but instead it's like almost so frustrating that it's like not even worth it at the very end, because it's like, you should be here by now. It should be like a 30-minute hike, and it takes like 3 times that amount of time. So it does depend on the time of the day, the time of the year, the time of the week. All of these things are taken into effect when you see the amount of crowding at the top. We summited on the first week of July, which is the first week you're allowed to take the Yoshida Trail that we took up to the summit, and it's still like brutally cold at the top, so most people don't choose to do it this month. We also went on a weekday, which is really recommended for lack of crowds.
It's really, there's a lot to think about when it comes to climbing Mount Fuji, whether it's cost, whether it's the actual hike itself, whether it's other people hiking the mountain, and your luck when it comes to the weather. But there's one thing we didn't talk about, and that's the most important thing, and that is the payoff at the end. Getting to the top and seeing that sunrise.
Worth it.
Might make it worth it. I think it might be worth it.
I think it's worth it.
Like, there's like 3 cons and 1 pro, but the pro is so good.
It was absolutely unbeatable. There's never been a sunrise like that, ever.
All in all, it really comes down to how badly you want to experience the sunrise on Mount Fuji, and how lucky you think you will be to be able to experience that on the top of Mount Fuji, because you might get up there and not even see a sunrise because the clouds are covering up the sun. All right, so we did it! We just made it back to the fifth station. Sarah's pumped.
Chance is pumped too. We're done. We're done hiking.
I want a snack or a meal. I'm hungry.
Yeah, we want some food and some sports drink.
Yeah.
Some water.
But was it worth it? Yes.
Yeah. Short answer.
Would we do it again?
No.
No. If we did it again, what would we do differently? We would pack warmer clothes.
Definitely.
Not bring a big tripod.
No. Bring a blanket for the top.
Bring a blanket for the top for sure.
Wear hats. Our ears would get so cold. What else would we do differently?
Bring a headlamp.
I mean, you could even go so far as bringing a pillow.
Yeah.
The ones in the huts were literally like a rock in a plastic bag. Man, if we have a video of that, I'll link it right here.
I would just open my own hut if I did it again.
Right, just sleep outside. You can sleep in the bathroom and pay $50.
It was cheaper than our hut.
Yeah.
5,600 yen if you slept in the bathroom. If you slept in the hut, 6,000 yen. So you save 400 yen.
And it would be nicer. But all in all, it was a great experience.
It was great. We had a great time.
It was really hard, but the payoff was so worth it.
So now we can successfully say we've climbed Mount Fuji, and now it's time to get some food and head to Lake Kawaguchiko to see the sunset on Mount Fuji. So we just got done getting food at
La Luce.
We got some really good garlic bread. It was like perfectly crispy on the outside and soft on the inside with garlic butter. That was really great. But the pizza was kind of strange. It had like radishes and tomatoes, like cherry tomatoes.
Spring mix.
Spring mix.
Japan puts the weirdest stuff on their pizzas. Like, I don't know if it's vegan or like pizza in general, but we've had pizza with like potatoes on it, leeks on it, like the weirdest stuff. But it was good. It was really cheap, so.
Yeah, it was less than 20 bucks. It was like 1,880 yen.
The woman there was really knowledgeable about veganism, even though it was not a vegan restaurant. She could clearly point out what was on the menu that was vegan, what vegan was.
Make sure if you liked seeing the sunrise on Mount Fuji, give this video a thumbs up.
That should be enough right there.
That's all you really need. Subscribe for more crazy stuff going on in Japan.
Yeah, we're doing something cool tomorrow, so don't miss it.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff tomorrow actually, so definitely don't miss it. Make sure that you leave us a comment on whether or not you would climb Mount Fuji. Do you think it's worth it? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let me know if you think that the ascent or the descent looked harder, because I think the descent was harder, but that sounds crazy. So let me know what you thought.
We'll see you next time.
Bye. It's the most popular place for people to kill themselves in this country, but it is a very, very beautiful forest area, and regardless of the dark undertones that you get here, it is gorgeous, and as long as you are respectful, I think it is a very beautiful place to visit.